Level 1, the first timer. You step off the transport bus into freezing cold air. The barking of guard dogs echoes against the gray walls. Your hands are cuffed tightly behind your freezing back. Snow crunches loudly under your thin and worn prison boots. You march in a single file line with other prisoners. The guards scream orders that you can barely understand today. You try to keep your head down to avoid attention. The massive steel gates creak open with a rusty groan. You are entering a world entirely separated from normal life. The smell of unwashed bodies hits you in the corridor. Fluorescent lights hum loudly above your shaved and cold head. You are pushed roughly into a crowded and holding cell. The heavy door slams shut with a terrifying finality. Dozens of eyes turn to look at you immediately. You feel the weight of their judgment on your skin. The air is thick with cigarette smoke and stale sweat. You must choose where to stand in this small space. A man approaches you with a blank and cold stare. He asks you the most dangerous question of your life. He demands to know who you are in this life. Your answer will determine your fate for the coming years. You stutter and try to find the right words quickly. Sweat begins to form on your forehead despite the cold. You claim to be a decent man with normal values. The man stares at you for a long and silent moment. He points to a spot near the door for you. You realize you have passed the first test of survival. You sink to the floor and pull your knees close. The night will be long and full of terrifying sounds. You listen to the screams echoing from the distant cells. Sleep is impossible when danger lurks in every single shadow. You wonder if you will ever see the sun again. The reality of your sentence begins to crush your spirit. You are just a number in a vast concrete machine. This is the bottom of the ocean of human suffering. You must learn the rules or you will surely die. Level 2, the peasant. You have survived the initial screening and the quarantine period. You are now assigned to a general population labor squad. Your days are filled with repetitive and backbreaking physical work. You wake up before dawn to the sound of sirens. The breakfast is a bowl of watery and tasteless gruel. You march to the industrial zone in the freezing darkness. Your hands are raw and bleeding from the rough timber. You operate heavy machinery that hasn't been serviced in decades. The sawdust coats your lungs and makes you cough constantly. You keep your head down and do exactly as told. You are a neutral piece on this violent chessboard. You do not seek power and you do not fight. Your only goal is to finish your term and leave. You pay your taxes to the common fund without complaint. The criminals leave you alone because you are a resource. You provide the food and the money for their system. You sleep in a barracks with 50 other tired men. The snoring creates a deafening roar in the crowded room. You hide your meager possessions inside your pillowcase at night. Trust is a luxury that you cannot afford right now. You watch a fight break out near the bathroom stalls. You turn your eyes away to avoid witnessing the violence. Being a witness can get you killed in this place. You focus on the texture of the gray concrete wall. You count the days remaining on your long prison sentence. The monotony is a slow poison for your active mind. You dream of simple things like hot coffee and silence. The guards treat you with the same disdain as criminals. You're trapped between the hammer and the hard anvil. Survival means becoming invisible to both the guards and gangs. You learn to speak only when it is absolutely necessary. Your personality begins to fade away into the gray background. You are becoming a part of the prison's stone walls. You feel your humanity slipping away with each passing day. The coldness of the zone enters your very bones today. Level 3, the associate. You realize that neutrality offers you no protection from predators. You are tired of being hungry and cold every night. You decide to make yourself useful to the higher ranks. You start running small errands for the cell block leader. You fetch their tea and clean their boots on command. You carry messages between the separated barracks during the exercise. The other peasants look at you with a quiet judgment. You ignore their stares because your belly is finally full. You receive cigarettes and tea as payment for your service. These small luxuries make you feel like a king inside. You are not respected, but you are now under protection. The predators look for easier prey than a useful servant. You learn the intricate slang of the professional criminal class. You memorize the complex code of conduct known as concepts. You watch how the leaders carry themselves with absolute confidence. You begin to mimic their walk and their aggressive tone. You are climbing the first rung of a dangerous ladder. The guards notice your association with the known troublemakers. They search your bunk more often during the routine inspections. You learn to hide contraband in impossible-to-find places. You swallow SIM cards wrapped in plastic to hide them. You tape razor blades under the rim of the toilet. You feel a thrill of rebellion against the strict regime. You are no longer just a victim of the system. You are an active player in the great underground game. You start to despise the men who remain passive victims. You see their weakness as a justification for their suffering. Your heart is hardening against the plight of your neighbors. You are trading your dignity for a sense of safety. The price of comfort is the loss of your independence. You belong to the hierarchy now and must obey orders. You wait for the chance to prove your true worth. Level 4, the Enforcer. The opportunity to advance arrives in a sudden, violent moment. The leader needs a debt collected from a stubborn debtor. He points a finger at you and gives a nod. You understand that this is your moment of critical transformation. You approach the target while he is sleeping on his bunk. Your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird. You wrap a towel around your fist to protect knuckles. You strike the man in the face with full force. The sound of breaking cartilage is loud in the room. He tries to scream, but you strike him again silently. You drag him to the floor and continue the assault. You do not stop until he stops moving his arms. Blood covers your hands and stains your gray prison uniform. You feel a strange mixture of nausea and electric power. The other prisoners look at you with a new fear. You have crossed the line from a servant to dangerous weapon. The leader nods at you with a look of approval. You are now the muscle for the inner circle crew. You are given a better bunk near the warm window. You no longer have to clean or fetch for others. Your job is to inflict pain on command without question. You start lifting heavy weights in the yard every day. Your body becomes a fortress of hard muscle and scar. You tattoo a predator cat on your chest for status. The guards mark you as a high risk for violence. You spend weeks in the isolation cell for fighting back. The darkness of the hole does not break your spirit. You use the time to sharpen your mind in hatred. You realize that violence is the only true currency here. You have lost the ability to feel pity for weakness. You see the world as wolves and sheep to eat. You have decided to be a wolf in this life. Level 5, the Authority. You have proven your loyalty and your capacity for violence. You are invited to sit at the table with elders. You drink the black and bitter tea called chafir. You discuss the business of the prison and the streets. You are no longer expected to work for the administration. Labor is considered beneath a man of your rising status. You spend your days playing cards and managing illegal trades. You organize the delivery of drugs into the secure camp. You bribe the guards to look the other way today. You negotiate with the suppliers on the outside mobile phone. Money flows through your hands into the common prison fund. You ensure that every prisoner pays their share on time. You adjudicate disputes between the lower-ranking inmates for peace. Your word is law within the walls of your barracks. You tattoo the 8 pointed stars on your collarbones. This signifies your total rejection of the state's authority. You will never cooperate with the police or the wardens. You live by the thieves' law and nothing else matters. You have cut all ties with your former civilian life. Your family is now the criminal brotherhood around you. You wear expensive tracksuits sent from the outside world. You eat food that is prepared by your personal servants. You have forgotten what it feels like to be hungry. But the pressure of leadership begins to weigh on you. You must constantly watch for rivals who want your spot. Paranoia becomes a constant companion in your daily life. You analyze every glance and every whisper for hidden treachery. You know that any sign of weakness means your death. You must be harder and smarter than everyone else here. You are a shark swimming in a tank of piranhas. Level 6, the Watcher. You are promoted to oversee an entire sector of the prison. You are the eyes and ears of the highest thieves. You manage the relationships between different barracks and different gangs. You ensure the common fund is full and well managed. You punish those who steal from the Brotherhood without mercy. You order a man's fingers broken for hiding a package. You watch the punishment without blinking or looking away. Your authority extends to the guards in your specific sector. You pay them to bring in alcohol and better food. You have a smartphone and access to the internet daily. You video call with associates in other prisons across Russia. You coordinate hunger strikes to protest the warden's strict policies. You wield the power of the mob against the state. The administration fears you because you can start a riot. They negotiate with you to keep the peace inside walls. You walk the yard with a phalanx of loyal bodyguards. No one dares to look you directly in the eye. You feel invincible within the perimeter of the barbed wire, but you are still a prisoner in a concrete cage. The power you hold is relative to this hellish place. You start to think about the legacy you will leave. You mentor younger criminals to follow in your dark footsteps. You teach them the traditions of the old criminal caste. You are a keeper of the flame of the underworld. You adjudicate life and death decisions over a cup of tea. You have the power of a judge and executioner. The weight of these decisions hardens your face into stone. You have seen so much blood it no longer registers. You are a machine of order in a chaotic world. You maintain the balance between the inmates and the law. You are the governor of this shadow society of outcasts. Level 7, the Crowned Thief. The highest council has recognized your dedication to the life. You are summoned to a meeting with the legendary bosses. They interrogate you on the finest points of the code. You answer with the wisdom of 20 years inside. They agree to crown you as a thief in law. This is the highest rank in the Russian criminal world. You are tattooed with stars on your knees and shoulders. You will never kneel before anyone in this world again. You are now royalty in the vast empire of prisons. You travel from camp to settle major disputes. Wardens treat you with a strange mix of fear and respect. You have the power to stop a prison war instantly. Your name is whispered with reverence in cells across Russia. You control criminal networks that extend far beyond the walls. Money from extortions and robberies flows into your accounts. You have no wife and no children to hold you back. The Brotherhood is your only true family and your god. You live strictly by the code and enforce it ruthlessly. You order the death of a snitch in another prison. The order is carried out within hours of your command. You feel the immense weight of the crown you wear. There is no retirement from this position of absolute power. You must maintain your status until the day you die. Every young criminal wants to make a name by killing you. You sleep with one eye open and a blade nearby. You trust no one completely, not even your closest friends. Betrayal is the nature of the world you have built. You are alone at the very top of the mountain. The air is thin and cold at this high altitude. You wonder if the sacrifice of your life was worth it. Level 8, the Zone Overseer. You are the undisputed ruler of a maximum security colony. The official warden is merely a figurehead in your office. You sleep in a private room with carpet and television. You eat restaurant-quality food delivered by compromised guards. You run the prison like a profitable corporation from inside. You take a percentage of every illicit transaction in the camp. You sell protection and comfort to the wealthy white-collar inmates. You organize the manufacturing of goods in the prison workshops. The profits are laundered through outside companies you secretly control. You have accumulated a fortune while sitting in a cage. You buy apartments and cars for people on the outside. You have influence over local politicians and police commanders. You can ruin a man's career with a single phone call. The system that imprisoned you now works for your benefit. You have turned the punishment into a source of power, but the walls are still there reminding you of confinement. You watch the seasons change through the heavy iron bars. You have power, but you do not have your freedom. You miss the simple feeling of walking in a forest. You miss the touch of a woman who isn't paid. The luxury inside the prison feels like a golden tomb. You surround yourself with sycophants who tell you sweet lies. You know they smile at you while holding hidden knives. You maintain your dominance through psychological terror and sudden violence. You purge your inner circle regularly to prevent any coups. You are the Stalin of your own private little country. The power is absolute and corrupts your soul completely. You have forgotten what it means to be a human. You are a creature of pure will and domination now. Level 9, the Regional Lord. Your influence has grown beyond the single prison colony. You control the criminal activity in an entire geographic region. You appoint the watchers for all the prisons in the area. You decide who gets promoted and who gets executed. You mediate disputes between rival gangs on the outside. Your word stops wars between powerful mafia clans in cities. You receive tribute from businesses and illegal operations everywhere. You are a kingpin directing an empire from a cell. The federal authorities are afraid to move you or touch you. They know your removal would cause chaos and bloody war. You exist in a stalemate with the government's highest levels. You are a necessary evil that maintains order in darkness. You hold court in the prison yard like a medieval king. Inmates kiss your hand and beg for your favor. You grant mercy or death with a wave of your hand. You feel like a god among these desperate mortal men, but you are a god who is trapped in hell. The isolation at this level is profound and crushing. You have no peers left to talk to honestly. Everyone wants something from you or wants to be you. You stare at the ceiling and feel an infinite emptiness. The power no longer gives you the thrill it once did. It is just a burden that you must carry daily. You think back to when you were a simple peasant. You remember the freedom of having nothing to lose. Now you have everything to lose and no way out. You are a prisoner of your own success and legend. Level 10, the Ghost. You have become a myth in the criminal underworld. Young prisoners tell stories about your deeds and your cruelty. They say you have eyes that can see through souls. You are transferred to a special regime facility for lifers. This is the end of the line for the dangerous. You are kept in solitary confinement for your own safety. The state wants to cut the head off the snake. You sit alone in a small white room for years. There is no one to command and no one to hurt. You are left with only the memories of your crimes. The faces of the men you killed haunt your dreams. You realize the ultimate price of the path you chose. Absolute power has led to absolute isolation in the end. You are the king of an empty and silent kingdom. Your vast empire continues to run without your input. New leaders have risen to take your place outside. They use your name, but they do not know you. You are a relic of a bygone era of thieves. The world has moved on and left you behind. You stare at the peeling paint on the steel door. You count the cracks in the concrete floor repeatedly. Your mind begins to fragment under the pressure of silence. You whisper commands to an army that isn't there. You have conquered the prison world but lost yourself. The cycle of violence continues feeding on new souls. You are just another brick in the wall of sorrow. You close your eyes and wait for the darkness. The silence is the only thing that is real. Death will be the only release from this cage. You are finally just a man in a box,